Hey guys, it's Rush. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. In this video today, I'm going to be talking about the GULIKIT ELVES 2 Pro controller. This is a small form factor controller. It can be used on PC, on the Switch, and mobile devices. So it's been a while since I've covered any controllers on the channel, and that's predominantly because I mainly cover 6-button fight pads. I only purchased this controller because of Ryonato on Twitter. They mentioned the controller, and especially the D-pad. They said how good the D-pad is, so shout outs to Ryonato on Twitter. So out of the box, of course, you get the controller. Comes in a nice carry case. Nothing special. It's nice to get a case for when you're traveling. You get some stickers and, of course, a manual. You do get a wire with the controller as well. It's only a 1 meter wire, and it's quite a thin and flimsy one, so probably won't be using that. So if you look at the box, there's a lot of things this pad has to offer, but the main things that stand out to me are the Hall effect joysticks. Has a floating D-pad. It is adjustable, so you can set it to 8 directions or 4. Of course, 1000 hertz polling. It offers a lot for the price point. I actually paid £25. It was on offer on Amazon when I purchased it, but you can get your hands on it. But the most I've seen it is about £32, so it's pretty cheap. But it is a great looking and very solid controller. I will say that it does feel very heavy for how small it is. Quite heavy. It weighs in at 189 grams. It feels very solid. Nothing feels cheap about it. No rattles, no flimsy plastics used. It's got a nice textured finish also, as you can see. The pad is also wired and wireless. You can use it wireless. You can see the wireless button flashing there. And just to compare it to another controller to show you the size, that's the Hori Octa Pro. You can see there's a substantial difference in size there. This feels close to the 8-bit Do in my opinion. It's slightly bigger. If you look at the side profile, look at the back, top view, it is quite slim, quite small, but the weight to it is substantial. I think the weight to it is probably because of the vibration features and the battery. So this pad does come in 2 other colours. You can go for a white or a black with a Saturn style colour scheme, the Japanese colour scheme. I've gone with the plain black. I think it looks a bit more mature in terms of the design. All black. I think everything's actually black, yeah. It's just the button that's blue. But in terms of functionality, so you've got a 4-button layout, 4 shoulder buttons. There's no paddles on the rear. You have 2 sticks, so you got your left stick, your right stick. They don't actually move that much. Left, right, up, down. It doesn't lean too much, which for me, it feels good. Not an issue, but you definitely notice it doesn't lean as much. Tilt it to its side. You can see from left to right, it's not a great amount of movement. The control pad, as mentioned, feels good. The buttons, nothing is switches. It's all membrane buttons. These have not a massive amount of travel. The response is nice. You know, you've got to press it down to get it to move. You get a little stubby click. Shoulder buttons have a more clicky feel to them, not as stubby. Less movement on them as well. These look like triggers. They're actually not triggers. Well, they are, but they barely move, as you can see there. Very clicky again. They sit quite close. So we'll talk about the actual buttons. So in terms of the design, it's thinner in the center, chunkier on the edges, so you have some meat to hold. But my hands, I always mention this, I've got big hands. They engulf this pad. So like pressing the shoulders, I'm using the base of my finger to press the shoulders. The shoulders and the triggers, the back buttons, they sit very close together. These are very, very thin. I don't like this. I like to have a little gap between the buttons at the rear and the front. They sit very, very close. These front shoulder buttons are thin, very thin. Not as thin as the B-top, but very, very thin. So I can definitely see myself accidentally pressing the wrong one in tense situations in fighting games. And the D-pad, so it is smaller than the Saturn D-pad, the actual stock default Saturn D-pad. So it has a similar style to it, has sharper edges on the up, down, left, right. Doesn't have as much curvature on the face. It does curve outwards ever so slightly, but not as much as a Saturn. But it's smaller, does feel good. It's got a textured finish. One thing I'm not a fan of is the way this part of the controller is raised. This D-pad sits within a recess. I can already see that is going to be in the way, which will be very annoying. You don't know, I use the joint of my thumb to input my up, down, left, right on the D-pad in fighting games. And like that, my thumb is just sitting on the face here, on the texture, here, the raised surface, which is not good. But that's a me thing. If you're using tip of thumb, that feels a lot better. So let's check the polling rate, the performance, and then we'll test it in game. I had some issues connecting it initially. So it is wired and connected now. The wireless button is solid, not flashing. I noticed when I first turn it on, when it's trying to search for a device, this is flashing. If I flip it over, there is a toggle that I didn't mention on the back. So the toggle has PC, iOS, and NS, which must be Nintendo Switch. So it's connected to the PC. I've got my polling rate software on. So let's switch over to that. Left stick. So the controller, the manufacturer offers a 1000 hertz polling. That's what they advertise. The polling rate, as you can see, is very, very low initially. Let's see if there's some software to change that setting. So configuration of this controller is done on the GULIKIT website. So there is a tool and calibration option. So I've just gone into that now. You can see on the screen, it's flashing. So pressing a button, it is connected to my PC, and I have some options here to test and configure. You can set up your joystick level. You can test the motors, the vibration. I'm not getting any, those are working, but there's not much going on with the pad. I click on the joystick step level. This is the sensitivity. Yeah. So shows you sensitivity, but in terms of configuration, don't know where we're configuring this, what we're changing. Reset counter. So yeah, it's literally just a test. There's no configuration done here. What's interesting is there's a setup tool. Click on that. It does respond. It mentions about, yeah, when the controller is in X input mode, use a wired or wireless connection, next press a button, start settings. So when I press a button, I can feel the pad vibrating. It's like a heartbeat, but nothing's actually happening. Put it down. See, it's moving by itself. So I'm not getting any response from this. I'm not sure why it's not going into a option or a setting here. So going back to the polling rate tester, I've gone for a 4000 sample test now. Let's do this again. I can actually see that the milliseconds in terms of the testing, quite good. I've done this test a few times now, and it's come out with various different results, like the average. So I did get like a 600 hertz polling rate. That's come out at 229. Previously, I got 195. So I feel what's happening is the stability of the connection is the issue. So I believe it is 1000 hertz, but I've never seen this on a controller before. So that's concerning. But for the price point, as mentioned, it's a quite cheap controller. Maybe that's why. And that's I'm using the Victrix wire. Now I use this on my Victrix, and that always comes back with a 1000 hertz polling rate. So interesting to see that on this controller. Testing the controller in Street Fighter 6, I am not a fan of this D-pad. I'm actually being forced to use the tip of my thumb because this, with the joint, the ball of your thumb, it does not work. It's very difficult to get the right side quarter circle forwards. It does feel nice. I have to say the D-pad feels good. I'm not sure on this D-pad positioning on the controller. I did think it would be a problem. It definitely is. Yeah, it's a combination of things. I think the D-pad with this recess makes it difficult for me to use, at least with the ball of my thumb. I switched to tip. Seems to be completely dropping the quarter circle input. Yeah, it feels weird. But also the layout. This is not a layout I'm used to, so the button configuration is not my preference. But I'm not having a great time with the experience on this D-pad. It's not the D-pad again, it's the shape of the controller. So if you've got small hands, use the tip of your thumb, you may be okay. But this is, I would say, the D-pad feels really nice and I like the size of it, but the controller really ruins the experience. And like with the controller itself, it's so small and the D-pad's quite high. I mean, for me, actually, I think the D-pad position, no, my thumb is very high up, actually. I feel like it's to do with this. This is so short. My thumb sits like up here. If you look there, my thumb's really high. I have to bring my thumb down here. You know, pressing these buttons as well, that's going to be an issue. Like here, I can sort of move my hand across and I can have my thumb over the face buttons and over the shoulders, the rear button. But here, everything's crammed together. So like having to just like slobber over the shoulder buttons, get those thumbs up there. Not great if you've got big hands and not great if you use the ball of your thumb. Wow. Okay, so this pad feels really good for Tekken. So I am again being forced to use the tip of my thumb, but the face buttons, the size of them and the layout, oh my gosh, this feels really good. And like the fact that I play claw as well, I like the way the buttons sit. Controller feels comfortable in this position as well. But the inputs and the D-pad like this, wow, I like it. Yeah, this feels really nice. The thing I'm struggling with is my thumb down here is getting quite sore, quite stiff. And I think it's because I'm having to anchor my hand down quite a bit. I'm having to, as I mentioned earlier on, my thumb's up here. So I'm having to really pull it back like that to get the tip of my thumb on the D-pad. So the size is definitely an issue for me. The size of the pad, the way I don't have much handle here to hold down there. So my thumb's like cramped. Thickness of the pad is, you know, it's not really there for me. So there's not much to hold on to. So using the D-pad like this, a bit achy, and then trying to get to these buttons again is quite achy. You can see my thumb is pulled back, my finger is pulled back as well, my index finger. So it's quite uncomfortable. But using it in this way feels, forget about my hand and how I'm experiencing it. The Tekken, the D-pad is phenomenal. It's really good. If I were to go back to like the ball of my thumb, it's still okay there. The joint, sorry, doesn't feel bad at all. It's a bit uncomfortable for me, but in terms of the way it's registering inputs, it feels really good. Really like it. Yeah, I really do like it. If this had a larger form factor, and if it had 2 additional buttons, so if it's bigger and it fit 6 face buttons on, I would really like this control pad, especially with the face as well. If that wasn't, the D-pad wasn't recessed so much, this didn't sit as high, that would make a fantastic controller. I do love this D-pad. So to conclude, a mixed bag with the GULIKIT ELVES Pro 2 controller. The D-pad, phenomenal. Very happy with the D-pad, but the package it sits within is the problem. For what you're paying to get this controller, you get a decent amount, I feel. It's not a premium controller, but it does feel well built. It's a solid controller, but in terms of price, it's not a premium controller. Missing a lot of the additional buttons we're used to seeing on modern controllers. But if you have small hands, if you use the tip of your thumb, then this could be a good controller for you. So let me know your thoughts on the controller. Have you got a controller? Do you like this pad? What are your pros and cons? Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you in the next one. Take care.